Good evening, folks. Welcome out. It's April 12th, 2023. Good to have you with us tonight. I started the Mixer about 12 years ago, 14 years ago, looking for y'all to help move it forward. We've got a couple of core members, Denise Garza, who I'm going to introduce first, and she will proceed to introduce Michael and our guest. So it's all yours, Denise, and please, everybody else, mute your microphone.
Hello, I am Denise Garza. I am an actor, singer, writer, director, producer person here in the Austin area and a new core member of the Network Austin Mixer. Thanks to Gary and Tootie for including me. And yes, I'm going to introduce the even newer core team member of the Network Austin Mixer and our interviewer MC for tonight, Michael Druck.
Thank you so much, Denise. Appreciate you. My name is Michael Druck. I make my living casting. I'm a casting director here in Central Texas, and I act from time to time. But overall, you could say I'm a supporter of the community. Whether you're a coach or whether you're an actor or all that creative, so you could say. And very honored to have Gary and Denise and Tootie and Judith and everyone champion me from the start of my career, and then also Donnie Hardy, have to give her props too for co-starting this. And we're in our 15th year, right, folks? About 15th year doing this, and it's been going on for a while, and we've been doing this virtually since COVID. So we're just going to keep this going, and there's plenty more people for our local actors to get to know, to get to see on an intimate level, and know what they do in our community. So I thought we would kick things off this month by highlighting two coaches and actors who I highly admire. And yeah, make sure that you're on mute if you're just joining us. Thank you so much. But yeah, without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce who we have in our panel today. We have Mr. Marco Perella here and Miss Paula Russell. We'll start with Marco's bio. Marco here has over 100 principal TV and film roles to his credit. He is best known for his role in Boyhood in 2014. A lot of other credits. He started his debut film acting role in Fandango. And Marco, please feel free to correct me later on. This is what I pulled from Wikipedia. And I will just say, Marco is a consummate working Texas actor. Numerous commercials, numerous films, from TV, Walker, Texas Ranger to Scanner Darkly. He's worked with pretty much every major director we have here in town. And as an acting coach, he's been working for over 35 years. So again, I'll let him go more into detail with what he does. Miss Paula Russell here has acted in theater, film, TV, directed a lot, and a lot of theater in Los Angeles, as well as the Ensemble Studio Theater, Actors Playhouse, independent venues, Long Center, Rollins, and Texas and Washington. She is a staff of the Zach Theater Performing Arts School and the State Theater School of Acting through the Alamo Austin Community College, and teaching acting in film, and also stage and audition workshops and showcase directing. What doesn't she teach at this point? I believe she's been teaching nonstop for 40 years. So, collectively, we have a lot of great knowledge here. So I'll let Paula talk a little bit more about what she does when we get to those specific questions. And a little fun note I like to say, it wouldn't be Austin without pointing out that both Marco and Paula are both musicians too. So yeah, that keeps the actor, musician, coach tradition here going on here in Texas. So please welcome Marco and Paula with us here today. You will get a chance for a Q&A. I'm going to go ahead and guide them through some questions that I think a lot of us want to hear. And then also keep in mind we are recording this. So if there's something you feel like you missed, you can always watch and play back. And then also you can view previous mixers too. So yeah, just we'll have at it then. So I'd say it's safe right now. Marco and Paula, y'all can go ahead and unmute there, or as that way it makes it easier for y'all, and y'all can chime in with each other here. I wanted to just get to the nitty gritty here. First of all, I want to talk about what point in your acting career did you start coaching actors? And can you tell us about that transition, you know, from being an actor yourself and just working one-on-one with actors or in a group setting? Either one of y'all.
Go ahead, Paula.
Oh, okay. Well, I had been in theater or acting, well, since childhood, because my dad was a theater professor. But I was in Joan Darling's class, and a lot of times people would ask me questions, and my answers would make their work better. And I wanted nothing to do with being a teacher. I wasn't raised by a teacher, but Joan Darling dragged me kicking and screaming into teaching. I was so terrified the first day, I think I lost 4 pounds before the class started. But that was like 40 years ago. And as a matter of fact, she still teaches she's going to be 88, and all of her students are going on Zoom to celebrate her. And she still teaches directing and acting for Sundance for Robert Redford. She's done it ever since I've known her. And so I'm still in touch with her. She's changed my life. So it's all her fault.
And Marco?
Oh, you know, I guess I've been acting for at least 10 years. And I'd only been acting in Texas for about 5 years. And my wife and I took classes with Cliff Osmond, and he's a great mind for acting. And it was he had a simple idea that we both took to really well. And he asked us to help him teach in Austin and San Antonio and Dallas. So we started helping run, acting workshops. And then we just kept doing it on our own. And it just, we never stopped. I never really stopped. I thought it was a good thing to be able to fall back on when I wasn't working as an actor myself. And it seemed to be helping people, at least giving them a place to work. I always thought that, best way to get better at acting is to do a lot of acting. So I always like to choose scenes for people. Oh, you did this romantic lead last week. This week you're going to do a creature from the Black Lagoon. Okay, try that. Now something else, I always found that stretched people, gave them confidence that they could do different things.
Well, that's what I appreciate about both of y'all, is when you coach with you get you two individually. So you're seeing these actors grow, you're challenging them. I'm sure you've gotten actors that have come and gone with you throughout the years, right? So you've seen them at different points in their career. Yeah. And I mean, to each his or her own, however they run their own acting studio. But again, I love that the Austin actors can just train directly with you, and you know what to do, and you're coming from an actor's standpoint too. So, well, I think that's a great segue for my next question. Either one of y'all or both of y'all, what would you say you focus on in your acting training with your students? I mean, let's just say for our film, TV, commercial people, not necessarily theater. What would you say?
I yield the floor to Paula.
What?
I yield the floor to you.
Oh, he's making me go first again. What do I focus on? I focus, this is the thing, I call myself a pluralist because I focus on everything. I teach every single class and start every single class with a very specific relaxation exercise that is for actors, which makes them acutely, athletically awake and alert, but without tension. If they have tension, it should be the character's tension later, not theirs. But also to just totally include themselves. So if they're terrified in a scene for some reason, if they're nervous, if they're new, or just that's in their personality, since whatever's happening in a scene, for me, this is an important part, it's an emergency. Doesn't matter what it is. David O. Russell, who's a film director, who's won many awards, says, walking down the street is life and death. So if you're in an emergency, so it's okay to be nervous. don't just do what you would do. And try to accomplish whatever your character's trying to accomplish. So I work a lot with the physical and the emotional together, because it's like an athlete. An actor is a lot like an athlete. And you can't read a book to learn to be an actor. You can read about it, but like Marco said, you have to do it. You have to do it and do it and do it. So
I like that, because there are a lot of books about acting, I'm sure, from people who may or may not know what they're talking about.
good books.
And there are some, Marco, you have a book, right? But I love your book. But yeah, Marco, so what do you focus on in a nutshell? I know there's a lot you both focus
Well,
on.
it's the same thing Paula said, exactly the same thing. But it's just it makes it sound complicated when you talk about acting and all the little techniques. And all coaches have their favorite little lingo we call, well, you play your objective. No, you did your motivation. No, that's your intention. It all is the same stuff. Basically, we're copying life. Acting is just living. And what we do in life is ad lib all the time. You know, we make it up as we go along. What you need to do is use the character and the lines that are written, but approach it just like you approach real life. Make it look like you're making it up right now and feeling stuff simultaneously. And you get used to it by doing it a lot, and it stops bothering you and you stop being scared about everything. So courage, I would say, would be the thing I preach the most. As an actor needs courage. Like Jack Nicholson said, 90% of this job is nerve. I think
well, that I love what you both said, because it complemented each other. It sounds like, you know,
He
when
said that about, oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say, it's like you asked two different people for directions to the same location. You might have a different way of getting there, but you still have that same end goal. And that's
There's a famous
basically
teacher, yeah, named Bobby Lewis, who said, I don't care what you call it as long as you do it. Objective, intention, event, just, you know, go.
And that kind of leads me to my next segue here, because I do get actors from a casting standpoint of all levels hit me up and say, hey, not hit me, right? But hit me up and say, you know, it feels like they can't act unless you're getting paid for a job. And I'm like, no, you could act at home, you can act in class. You know, I feel like that's kind of the common misconception, as actors feel that there isn't work for them to practice on, when I'm sure you give your actors and your students take home work that they could do, or and also the work they're doing in class. Is that correct?
I give them homework.
Yes.
Mainly, if I give somebody a challenging scene that they seem to like, I say, now that you've done the scene, go home, rent that movie, watch that scene, and see the people that were making thousands of dollars, what it took to get that role for them, you know. But don't go look at it before you do the scene, because we want your interpretation. That's the kind of homework I give.
You know, that brings up another question for me. Paula, did you want to add to that?
Oh, I was just going to say, yes, that I give homework, which includes not making it about the words of the scene. Don't perform the words, but personalize all of it, whatever it means to you. And you don't have to tell anybody else what you chose. If it's working, it's working, and that can be private, but just in terms of working on the scene, I like actors to do, I actually invented this. Well, I thought I invented it. Turned out it's kind of been done before, but only in a film, which is I have them actually bring in a moment alone as the character. It doesn't have to have anything to do with the scene. It could be the character getting ready to go to the dentist, or, getting ready for bed. And in that, I want them to sing as the character, dance as the character, eat as the character, have an accident as the character, with no agenda other than that they're getting ready to do whatever it is. And many times something comes out of that, but then ends up in the scene. And then they've invented that. And if they say to me, oh, my character would never sing and dance, I always say, until today. Don't say no to stuff, all you actors. Say yes.
I like that, Paula. That's good. I like that. I'm gonna steal it.
You can
I
steal-
love this because you're still learning from each other. I love that.
I love to
that's
watch
beautiful
other
to see.
teachers.
And that's why I like doing events like this, because I'm like, oh, that's a good one. I might steal that, you know, when I've been on panels before. So that's what's great. Now I mean, I didn't put this question out to y'all earlier. A lot of parents come to me with their kids and, you know, they're like, my kid wants to act and all that. And I already have my stuff ready for them. Usually I feel like I just need to give the parents a good business class and then let the kid act. Because a lot of times I'm like, ooh, I don't want to touch the kid too. I don't want to mess with the kid being a kid, because, you know, they're their own precocious self. I always feel like every time directors shoot in Texas, they want to see real kids. They don't want to see that 8-year-old who's acting like they're going on 14. So have y'all coached kids, and do you have a different approach for kids, or what is a good 101 you would give to these parents who say, my kid wants to get into acting?
Who wants to go first? Marco?
Well, I'm not teaching kids right now.
But you have, right?
Privately sometimes, but I teach teens and up. I'll tell you why. Just because unless they're teens, there's certain kind of scenes you don't really want to do in class with little kids.
Right.
And so it limits everybody. And I have to be the policeman to watch out, make sure nobody says too many bad words, or it can't be an adult themed scene. Oh, you have to go out of the room on this one, go wait in the hall. And I can't do it. So I leave that, tell them to go to somebody's class that's doing kids, and they don't want to. They want to be in the more advanced classes, but it's
Yeah.
sometimes.
I don't teach children's classes anymore, but I've directed some children's theater. One person said to me, I can't believe how patient you are. And the fact is, I wasn't feeling impatient, therefore I wasn't being patient. You know, I wasn't upset. They're kids. But, and also like with you, Marco, with an interview, I'll take a 16-year-old into an adult class, but I don't want that. What happens is the adults censor themselves automatically because there's kids there. And if there's two kids, they show off for each other. So it can be not a healthy environment. But there was a woman directing a film, and they wanted me to coach, and they wanted me to interview the children that were auditioning for this movie. And so this one kid, I mean, it was impossible to get them. The mother wanted this child to be in this movie, and the kid had a great look and clearly was not an actor and had no interest in being an actor. And I kept telling the company, do not cast this kid. And there was a little Latina girl who was spectacular. And they said, yeah, but you know, we don't think that a Latina girl, believe it or not, would be an orphan. And anyway, they ended up having to get rid of the child who was being tortured by its parent. That's the thing that you made me think of it, you know, when you mentioned it, Michael. The child has to really want to do it. They did end up using the girl, and she was wonderful, but somehow you have to let these parents know that if the child doesn't want to do it, they're going to be miserable and possibly damaged.
Ooh, yucky story.
Oh, sorry.
No, I mean, it's
I
just-
mean, sometimes we have to audition that 6-year-old for that CSI who played an abuse victim. You know, sometimes we have to go there, but I prefer to go slightly older, like the 8 or 9-year-old who looks like they're 6, because they've had more time in their life to do. I mean, that's a whole casting 101 thing for me. But like you said, it feels like if the kid is ready, if the kid wants it, if the kid, you know, I mean, it's just, there's so many factors involved that there isn't just a generic answer for it. But again, we do get a lot of the parents who are like, I want my kid to try it. And my advice is get them on a set, you know, get them to try it. And then if they start getting auditions for things, and yeah, get some coaching with coaches who really want to. Mona actually saved me once when I was going to do a kids class. She said, Michael, it's going to take all day. Like, kind of like, be prepared to teach a kids class. It's not, oh, I'm going to teach a kids class. So I'm glad that she pulled me aside and gave me that advice, because I was like, it does take a certain energy, and it's just a different approach altogether. And even casting kids is different than casting teens and adults who get it. And, you know, we don't have to like mince words around them, you know, because I say when you're on a set, you're around 200 crew members, you're not going to be mincing words. So you got to kind of be protective of the kids when we can. So that's my main kid segue. But let's get to, okay, so quick little segue, folks, for all the people watching. Thank you for taking your notes and paying attention. We do have a meeting chat group here. If you go to the chat section, people are putting little notes saying their hellos. We're going to be dropping some links in there too, so it's a good way to communicate there too. And I'll just go ahead and mention this now. It's about 7:21. I will ask 1 to 2 more questions, and then we'll start opening it up for Q&A here. So if you want to start raising your hands, you can. That way we can go ahead and start in that order of who raised their hand first. I believe there's like a little hand icon there. And yeah, if you want to start raising your hands, you can. And then when we get to the Q&A section, if you have a question for Marco or Paula or both, you can go ahead and ask that. But I'm going to still ask 1 to 2 more questions here. So you have a little bit of time to do that. Okay, great. And we already have our first one. That's beautiful. Okay, continuing on. The pandemic hit 3 years ago. Changed our whole industry, changed how we cast, changed how we coach. How did that affect y'all? And then like, do you still teach virtually? Like what's going on? Like in a nutshell, like from where you were then and where you are now.
Well,
Oh, go ahead. Yay, he went.
I did. I stopped teaching the live classes for a while, and I taught online only for over a year before I went back to the live class. Once we got the vaccines and everybody was getting vaccinated, I thought it was safe enough to go ahead and do it. And and it worked out pretty good. I teach live class on Monday, and Tuesday I do online. And the online is because I have people that have gone to other places and are living in LA or New York. I even had a woman join from London, and we did scenes online from London. So I keep that one open, but most people want to do a live class. They want to come to and be with people in the room. So that's still what I do basically.
Yeah.
And Miss
I
Paula?
did too, and you were saying, how did it go? I thought, oh man, this will be terrible. I'll start with monologues. Well, it turned out we found ways to do scenes. I didn't think a personalization game, which I don't want to detail it, but I always thought you would have to have the person you're working with you for that. And it worked. I had them just, well, you know, when you're slating your name and talking to nobody there, to the camera, that's how I had them do that exercise, and it worked. So I'm still teaching online too. It's not the same, of course, as when you can, you know, physically be with your scene partner, but I was surprised how well it worked, and I'm going to be continuing it.
I think, yeah, we've all like seen the perks and the pros and the cons of both. Yeah, like what you're saying, you can be in any city and coach with an actor wherever you want, like especially if you're prepping for an audition or something. And y'all do that? Do either of y'all do privates for if people have an audition to prepare, or like
All the time. The other day I had 2 last minute, and we ended up being on because they didn't even have time to get to me. So I said, send it so I can read it. And you know, it's sometimes it's on short notice. Marco probably has the same thing where somebody actually lives somewhere in Austin, but not close, and they have to have something right away.
Yeah, I think we should be in that part of the business. I mean, that's when they need us, you know, just for confidence sake, if nothing else.
Yeah.
The last minute warm up, you know, and you give them a pep talk, get in there and fight, you know.
Yeah, when people are asking my opinion on who to refer, I go, well, I feel like audition prep's more like a good realtor. You know, you're not teaching them how to act. You're more like, we'll try it this way. We'll try it that way. Okay, we'll try it that. Yeah, so, and I know each of y'all have your different approaches, but when do you think an actor should get coaching? Like, is it for a guest star role, a co-star role, just whenever you feel like a good indie, or is it just depends on what the actor's comfort level is?
I think if you can do it, you should always get coaching. I mean, that's just I think it's helpful if you have somebody you trust. Sometimes you have an actor and they'll go, how come I forgot to do that? You know, because you.
I mean, and
have a
go ahead,
2 or
Mark.
3 liner, I think most people, you can give them confidence. Hey, it's 3 lines. You can, you don't, with some parts, if you have a short little part like that, you'll be more inclined to over rehearse it, and it'll become a little performance thing that you're doing, and it won't be you're the guy that's selling. If you want fries with that, okay, great. That was your role, you can't, do you want fries with that? John Sayles movie about that one time, and that's a big mistake to make. You have to toss these things off, and it's not the biggest moment of this character's life. You have to know that as the character, you're just living,
Co-star roles, gotta love them. They're literally 1 or 2 words sometimes. And I made the joke in my workout class the other day. I was like, I literally auditioned for a role called Fat Guy for a New Mexico show. Like 1 word, I was like, yeah, or something like that. I was like, hey, it made my agent laugh. I was happy about that. Anyways, but yeah, you'd be surprised. Now, I'd like to ask one more question, then we'll open it up. So I want to make sure everyone gets their questions answered. But this can be a bit controversial, but also I feel like it happens a lot regionally. And these are just questions I hear, throughout the peanut gallery. What is your opinion on when an actor should explore other coaches or stay with their one? Or, I mean, I know it's good for business if they stay with their one, but as an actor, what do you think an actor should do when pursuing like different coaches, different training, different types of experiences? What do you think about that?
You first, Marco.
Well, Paula, I don't know. I think it depends, first of all, on the actor's temperament.
Yep.
And some actors just aren't comfortable in certain kind of classes. Like some of my actors went off to LA and they joined a class, and the first night of the first class, okay, everybody take off your clothes. I'm telling you the truth. This actually happened.
Was that James Franco's studio? No, I'm just kidding.
We got to break down all your inhibitions if you're going to be an actor. And some people just don't want to do that, Other people want to concentrate on, do the exercises where you, get all revved up and breathe fire and all. That's great. I love it. Other people just give me a scene that I can do a character. So a lot of it is what your temperament is suited for. But I believe generally that people should test out, take more than one class from more than one teacher, see what's available. You're always going to get something. You're going to learn something somehow from somebody. And if you want to pick one for a long time relationship, that's fine. And I love that. I love seeing people over the years and helping them. But I think you have to realize not everybody has all the answers, and somebody might talk your language better than I'm talking it, And so I say, try it out, go for it, do other classes.
Yeah, I think that actors should feel safe, that if you go into a class and for whatever reason, if the coach invades your personal life or tells you to take off all your clothes, or if the atmosphere just doesn't feel good, whether right or wrong, it is good to try out different coaches. But if you don't feel like you're thriving, don't be ashamed to check out elsewhere. And if you find someone that you want to stay with for 10 years, and I've got lots of those, that's great. If you are staying with somebody because you're growing there and you're constantly challenged, definitely take improv, take social dance, take karate, take singing, stretch your instrument outside of whatever is the limitations of whatever class you're in. Go somewhere to get the stuff that's not happening in that class, whatever that might be.
I'm glad you said what you said too, Marco and Paula, because I do feel like people do hop around coach to coach waiting to hear those magic words. Like, tell me what I need to really make it in this business. Tell me what I really need to be a working actor. And I think I admire the coaches who are like, there is no magic formula. There are no magic words. You just have to do it. And so that's usually a good like gauge for me on like, oh, am I going to refer to that coach or not? Because, you know, if you come in with all the answers, it's like, okay, great. Now let's just, you know, wait for you to win that Oscar, you know? So, but, and you both seem like you're about the work, and that's what I just love to hear. That's music to my ears. And I think that that's what a lot of actors need to walk away with. So I will do one reminder before we go to our questions here for the Q&A. Again, the meeting chat, Gary did remind us to feel free to put your contact info, what you feel like sharing, whether it's your LinkedIn or your email or social medias. A perk to socially engaging on a Zoom like this is community. And then also, you know, if you ever need a reader for those 11 p.m. self-tapes that mean casting director sent to you, then, you know, you'll have a reader. But yeah, stuff like that. And that's again what I love about our self-tape age is that we're having a community and we're able to depend on each other. Okay, well, we'll keep this going. First of all, thank you so much, Marco and Paula. Keep on going, and we're gonna make this last part hopefully nice and smooth, and hope y'all are still hanging in there with us. But okay, so I'm gonna call on y'all one at a time. Feel free to ask. If you can limit it to one question, that would be great, so we can get everyone in there. After you ask your question, please mute yourself so our two guests can go ahead and answer, and remove your hand so we know that you've already been spoke to. So I'll go ahead and start with Mr. Dylan Hobbs.
Thank you. I just want to say thanks, Michael, and thanks, Marco. Thank you, Paula. Thanks for all your time tonight and all the stuff that you're sharing with us. I love talking to actors and people in the business. I miss it. The pandemic is, you know, it is what it is, but I guess the question that I really would like to ask is, you know, a lot of casting directors or people, they talk about not sticking to the words of the scene, not doing it word for word, and doing it somewhat left or right of perfect or the way that you think it should be done. So I guess, what does that mean to you as an acting coach for an actor to go left or right of the written material, but to also show that like they know the material, they're in touch with the material? Like where does the line bend and sway for you guys?
Would you
I
like
don't
to?
hear Marco, so I get, oh, go ahead, Marco.
Well, okay. You're in an audition. You're guessing. You can't get limited by, oh, wonder what they want. They don't know what they want. They won't know until they see an actor who gets them excited. They're depending on us and our creativity. You know, they want their ideas to be present. So if they really love you, oh, do another take. A lot of people, my actors think, oh my God, they wanted me to do it again. I must have blown it the first time. I said, no. If you blew it the first time, they wouldn't be wasting their time with you. They'd just say, thank you, bye-bye. If they ask you to do another take, they like you. They want to see if you can take direction, that they can work with you, you know, that you can shade your performance a little bit. That's all fine. That's all great. The main problem I find with my actors, and all actors tend to do this one time or another, they make the mistake of going into their audition room and trying to get the job. They're not thinking playing the character's objective. They're still lost in their own personal goals. I wonder how I'm doing. I wonder if they like me. Maybe I'll get them more mad and it'll work. And they forget to live the character's life. And that's the only way you're going to get hired, is to be relating well to the character that's inside you. So I say, just let it rip. Let it rip. Give them all you got. And remember, you're living. I mean, you're not going to be working at 90% or left and right. I don't know, man.
I agree with Marco 100%. So my answer is really short. There's a great tape you can find on YouTube of Bryan Cranston talking about how when he followed the advice Marco just gave, that's when he started getting work. He didn't go in for the job. He went in to do what he does.
Kristofferson, my teacher, that was the big thing. He said, same thing happened to him. He used trying to get the job. And he said, wait a minute, that's not what I should be thinking about. I'm just, and he said he started treating the audition like the performance. He said, great, I get to audition today. I get to act for free. I love to act. I don't have to pay anybody, you know, and I can do it the way I want. I'm the director too. And I can go in and even if I get the role, probably won't be as much fun as this audition because I got to create the whole thing for myself. And he started getting all this work.
I'll just throw quickly here. Guys, remember we're seeing more people now than ever. So yeah, we're seeing 200 tapes, not 40. So if, you know, you're off by a word or two, who are we to know? We're like, okay, you know, let's keep going. Like you said, we don't know, they don't know what they want until they see it. So that's great.
Tell you one thing, in Friday Night Lights, they never said cut. When we auditioned for Friday Night Lights, you wouldn't hear cut. They expected you to keep living the character's life. And that's why that was such a great show, because half of it was improvised.
Well, I think they definitely wanted actors who could keep going, right? Like not just like, the words aren't on the page. So what do I do now? I don't know, keep acting, you know? So was that part of your audition process, Marco? Just since we're going, Friday Night Lights is such a big part of our film history here. Were they making sure you could keep on improvising while you were in the casting?
So I think they were very interested in seeing the people that were committed to living the part instead of just delivering lines.
Awesome. Great.
Thank you, guys.
Miss Adrienne.
Hello. Paula, I, of course, love hearing everything that you have to say, having worked with you throughout the years. And I was hoping you would talk a little bit more about Moment Alone, because no matter what skill level, what experience any of us have, we always forget those 101 lessons.
Okay, I have a compliment for you because I had lunch today with someone who directed you in a play, and she said at the audition, her decision was, I'm not messing with her at all. She's whatever she wants to do is good with me. So congratulations on that. I think I kind of described the Moment Alone, but how it evolved. Well, what I think is that it helps the actor to explore every part of the character that's not on the page. And, you know, one of my mantras is, please don't give me what's on the page. Don't perform that out for me. I'm not deaf. I'm going to hear that. Bring me everything that's not on the page. If it doesn't say cannot tap dance on the table, then you can. So maybe in your Moment Alone, you tap dance on the table. And that's that great Danny DeVito story when he auditioned for Taxi, and here this little guy comes in. They must have thought, what the hell? And he jumped up on the table and jumped up and down and yelled and got cast, and they kept it in the character. How that Moment Alone evolved was I was watching a show called The Cloris Leachman Show, which came out of Mary Tyler Moore. And there was an episode where her daughter said, you don't know how to be alone. And Cloris Leachman, who was a wonderful actress, started trying to be alone in her own house. And she's going around. She ended up at the end picking up things and playing on the furniture like they were drums, and sat in a chair and it tipped over backwards. And that was the end. And I went, that's a great exercise. And later a student told me everybody should watch Miles Irons His Pants on Frasier, where there's an 8-minute Moment Alone that includes eccentric behavior, accidents, you know, it's everything that I asked to have in it. So I told my teacher, Joan Darling, I invented this great, wait, you hear what Joan, I had this great idea. And she started laughing. I said, what's so funny? She said, I directed that episode of Cloris Leachman. So that's my story about that. Is that helpful? Is that what you wanted to know, Adrienne? I'm not sure. The thing
I just
that
thought it would be helpful
that
for,
exercise, what,
I just thought it would be helpful to hear, for others, for everyone to hear an expanded version.
yeah, I described everything that people are supposed to do. But one of the things that I'll often, I warn them this is going to happen. I also don't want them to work their way up to it. If I want the scene to have singing, dancing, and an accident, then I want you to do that at the same time. Sing, dance, and drop something or whatever it is. Don't wait. Don't do things one at a time, and do it immediately. So that's a really important part of it that's hard for people to do at first. Just like the tantrum exercise, you know, don't work yourself up, just go on a cue, just hit the floor and have a fit. Don't think about it. Okay.
Paula, I thought you'd like to hear. I'm going to have lunch with Joel Thurm, the casting director from Taxi, and all those.
Oh, yeah?
characters.
Oh.
So he's such a sweet guy. When I got into the CSA, he actually sent me a nice paragraph. I'm like, did y'all see that? Joel Thurm knows who I am. And he just wrote a great book about all of his casting experiences too. So it's
Oh
really,
my God. I wonder if Danny DeVito jumping on the tables.
I might be. I'm going to read it and I'll let you know. I'll get you a copy. How about that? That'll be a gift for me.
Oh.
There we go. Okay, there we go. Continuing on, y'all are doing great. Thank you so much. Again, thank y'all again for your time. Gary, it's your turn.
Yeah, short and sweet. Marco and Paula, y'all both know as musicians how much of it is ad lib, staying in character and improvising. It really is. And I think one of the best examples of that hit me was seeing Dr. Strangelove. When George C. Scott runs around in the war room and trips and falls over, that was an accident. That was
I know.
not
That
planned.
in the movie, it made the movie. It was
It
so
made the movie. He
because
stayed.
he didn't break character.
Go ahead, Marco. It's true. That's not
He
planned.
just stood up and went like that. I always use that as an example. Yeah, that's a great example.
Kevin Kline said, I live for accidents.
James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, they had the knife fight, and the other actor screwed up and actually cut him. Blood on his T-shirt, you know, and the director goes, cut, cut, cut. James Dean says, don't say cut. I was having a real moment. I didn't have to act. Oh, you got all excited, you know. Oh, Lord.
Love it.
I'm a huge Sal Mineo fan, so yeah, so I love Rebel Without a Cause.
Oh my God, you look like him.
When I'm thin, no, no, I do want to make a stage play about his life. I'll cast someone younger, but yeah, but there we go. But no, I got I love those actors from those days. But what was a quick movie I was just watching? I don't know. Michael could talk to you all day about classic film anyway. So let's get this going. Mr. Miles, you're up. Make sure to
Okay, I
unmute.
just got my unmute button going there. Thank you, everyone. And I mean everyone. This is a phenomenal experience for me. At 70 years young, I'm happier and healthier than I've ever been in my life. And I'm happy to be with other creatives. And I thank you for your time and for sharing your experiences. I just want to say two things. In this business, for me, I hear a lot of my fellow creatives say, well, you know, I'm following my dream. You know, I want to be an actor. No, for me, acting is not my dream. It's my reality. And I'm so thankful. So much that has been shared. Thank you, Marco. Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your insights. And I'm supposed to have a question right now. And perhaps I don't. I'm just fascinated and happy to be in the presence of everyone here. So I'll release the mic.
Miles, just just affirmations and being nice about everything. I appreciate that because I think they like to hear that too. I do have a random fan question for y'all. Have y'all coached anyone who ended up making it pretty big up there in the acting world? And if so, do you mind divulging any names? Or anyone you've worked with on stage or film, or I don't know. I like to do those little fun questions.
for the few, but
Made money
they
in it.
weren't class, so I bet Marco's got more.
I don't.
No one
big
in name.
stars, no big stars, but I've had a lot of people that have gone on to make a living or do pretty good.
Isn't that the goal, right? To make a living.
I had this one kid, we were talking about kids, and he was 11, and I took him. He was a special case, so because his dad was in prison and his mother was in the drug rehab, and so he had to live with his grandma. But he really liked movies. I took him to be an actor. Liz Cagley, who was a casting director back in those days, I was looking for a kid to be in a movie called Flesh and Bone. Dennis Quaid and James Caan, and it was Gwyneth Paltrow's first movie, and Meg Ryan was in it too. And the part was for a boy whose dad is a burglar and would stick him through the little transom window on one of these old Texas houses in a house that he was trying to break into, and the kid would crawl down and unlock the front door for him. That's exactly what this little kid in my class used to do for his father to get drug money. I mean, exactly what the part called for. And they said, well, where'd you find that guy? I said, I didn't really know he'd done that. And he got to go off, and he lived with Leonardo DiCaprio, Leonardo's house. And he's in several movies with Leo and did several things on his own. He did really good.
What I'm fascinated too is how many directors take acting workshops, because they want to know how to give direction to actors, or they don't go to school or with an acting background a lot of times, or in a film program.
Most directors don't know about acting. They spend all their time with the camera, they know about the visual side and all that. Read about John Ford and what he used to do to actors. He was very clever. He would manipulate them.
The mind game some play, right? Just to get the performance out of someone. The auto primingers, all those people. Yeah, I mean, that was Michael Curtiz's. Yeah, I love film history. You learn so. Yeah, that's another. You can learn so much about reading of our directors from yesteryear. That's right. And I like that you mentioned Liz too, because we have such a rich history of casting directors of yesteryear, agents of yesteryear. So many people who were pioneers in our Texas community. I remember, that's what I miss about Mona's Biz Directory. If y'all remember that, I would just read that for hours because I just want to know like who's who and what made them get into the business and what is their point of view. So I hope down the line someone like documents who these people were. Because
we're so lucky because in Austin we have a community where people can get a start and actually get roles, get parts that mean something, that are on a professional level.
It's not some fly-by-night town where, 2 films shot here and then they moved on. Yeah, exactly. You could work here. And a lot of LA, New York people are moving here still. I know our rent keeps going up, right? They're moving here still, right? So, okay, continue on. We got 3 more questions and then I think, maybe 4 if we can, but I'll speed it up here. Forgive me, Miss Ferguson. Is that Nia Ferguson?
Yeah, it's Shania. Hi.
Shania. Beautiful name. Go for it.
Hi, thank you. I just want to say for one, Miles Cranford, I just want to say you're like the next Morgan Freeman because I actually wrote down your quote, like acting is not my dream, it's reality. And I absolutely love that, which is perfect because my question is actually, like what is your greatest, most inspirational quote for your acting career / coaching, just overall for your life? Like what's that quote that just gets you out of bed in the morning?
You mean quote that we give to our students?
Yeah, like give to your students or just like something that that you just have like on hand on a sticky note on your bathroom mirror.
Well, one of the
just your go-to.
Very short
Yeah.
for my class is let yourself laugh.
Oh, I like that.
which is, don't get all, know that you're playing a game. So let yourself laugh. School of Acting is what Joan Darling used to call it. It was on her license plate. So that's a short answer.
Short and awesome.
Marco, what is yours?
I usually just remind myself that this audition is not the end all be all of life. I'm just relax and enjoy it. At the end of this, my dog still loves me, whether or not I get this part or not. My mama still loves me, whether or not I get this part. I'm going to go off and live my beautiful life and not worry about it. Actors worry too much about getting roles, and you only get 1 out of 20 if you're really hitting on a good average. So you can't call it rejection all the time and look at it as a form of torture. You just have to enjoy the process and do it with courage and love and move on.
Thank you for saying that, Marco, because I always ask actors when they're feeling down on their luck and they're coming to me, I say, well, how many callbacks have you gotten this year? And they tell me the number. I go, count that as a booking, because after the callback, it's all out of your hands. And then I say, well, how many auditions did you get? Well, guess what? We had like 10 times as many submissions. So the fact that casting company called you in, that means that they like you and that they think you can deliver good work, or that director or whoever called you in. So I'm glad that you said that, because, just getting auditions and just doing the work, that's a good win. I think so.
We actually have a class mantra. It's too long to say the whole thing, but it starts out with, forget what you have been taught and be instead bewildered. And the end of it says, from now on, be mad. So just let go.
Sounds good. Oh, and then Gary, I also put Paula and Marco's info in the chat there so people can get a hold of them and go to their website. Let's keep going on. We're almost done here, but Limon, Mr. or Miss Limon, Anave.
Oh, I see.
Hi.
I want to answer a question from Margot. Hi. Do you teach adults acting too?
You're asking me or Paula? Or both?
They're asking if you teach adults. I believe he does.
Yes.
He does.
Adults and teenagers.
That's cool.
That's a quick question, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's just a question.
Many great adults, many great
No,
teenagers. Yeah, awesome.
You guys are really, you look great. I bet you're going to be great actors. So when you get to be 13, call me up.
I wanted to make sure, Marco, both you and Paula mention your contact information, by the way.
I think Michael put it in the chat line.
But yeah, so we have Marco. I have your info as theactorsworkshop.com or actorworkshop.com.
Yeah.
And I gave them your email address too, if they ever just want to hit you up for a private or just general information.
That'd be great.
And then Miss Paula, I got paula-russell.com/classes. And what email would you prefer for people to email you for classes and stuff? I had the Russell's one, but that could be another one.
That's the right one.
Is that a good one?
Yes, Russell's@rockisland.com, right.
Beautiful. So yeah, they have your info then in that case. And Google them, and wherever you found the posting too, they're very reachable. That's what I love about them too. Miss Marla, let's keep this going, and then we probably have time for one more after that.
First of all, thanks for doing this, Michael. You look great in person. I haven't seen you in a while. As an actor, taking classes was so important to me, but finding the right teacher, as they were talking about, was impeccable. As a producer, when we're directing and we send out the actors' sides, one of the things I get is, well, how do you want me to deliver it? When we've given the synopsis, when we've given, what we're expecting, how much more details do these actors need?
So how many more details would help an actor do a better audition? Do y'all prefer
Yes.
less or more? What is your stance on that?
I don't like to know everything, but you have to know the basics. Well, did I kill the guy or not? You know, that we're talking, the actor needs to know a few things. You know, did I kill this guy and I'm hiding it? Is that what you, yes, you got it, that's it. Or no, you got it all wrong. He's in love with the guy's girlfriend. Oh, now I got you. Yeah, we need the basics so we can build it. It's like, we can build without a blueprint, but it helps to have a blueprint to get started. That's
Yeah,
my-
once in a while they come with nothing and you have no idea who they're talking to or what anything they say means. So yeah, just need the basics.
So you're saying a happy medium, like at least get the synopsis, at least get a character description. We understand that the scripts aren't available for every role, you know, but at the same time, as much, because I guess that's what actors are feeling, a little lost. You know, they're like, well, how do you want me to do that? We're not in the room for you to give me an adjustment.
Yeah.
So, but like y'all are saying, at least know what the motivation is, at least know,
Well,
but
who am I talking to? You know, sometimes they
that
don't
too.
say anything.
Yeah, exactly. Who am I giving my eye line to? And okay, are there
My
three
mother
people?
or my lover?
It is great when the scripts have great stage direction too, right? So you know, oh, this is where I'm at. I'm in the kitchen. Oh, you know, mom's cooking eggs and Sissy's across from me. Okay, great. Now I know where to look at when I'm talking to. So versus just a one page with the three, because I've seen a lot of social media posts where they're doing their own casting, but you know, I get it. But they'll say, deliver these 3 lines, thanks. It's like, well, okay, did we get a script? Did we get anything? And that's why a lot of it seems flat to the actor. They're like, well, I gave the 3 lines. How come they didn't call me back?
Well, that's when the casting directors really help, because they probably have talked to the director or the writer or something and gotten some ideas about the different characters before they call the actors that they think can do those parts. And you can get a lot of information from the casting director about which direction they're looking for.
I've had a director ask me 3 times in 2 weeks when I'm going to start casting this project. I'm like, where's my script? I still don't have a script. So I'm like, cart before the horse here, you know, I'm just saying, but that is our job to field. And again, not every film or project can afford to hire us. So if you are doing your own casting, at least the basics, like what Marco's saying. Thank you, Ms.
Really,
Paula.
you're welcome. Really quick, Paula, what was that YouTube channel you said to look up?
About what? Which thing?
The lady that's doing the play, you mentioned the YouTube to listen to. Don't worry about it. Michael will text me, hopefully.
Sorry. Not quite
It's
sure.
okay.
I'll have to replay it, but yeah, I'm sure it's in there. I'll get it for you, Miss Marla. 2 more, and then we really got to wrap it up. I don't want to occupy too much of their time, but Mr. Carl and then Kelsey. So Carl Thomas, you first, please.
Yes. All right, guys. Thank you, Michael, and thanks for the guests and everyone here. My question has to do with theater. I've done a lot of theater, and I find that the theater has opened up the doors for a lot of things for me. I mean, it helped me with my lines but it's a combination, not just the theater, but overall things like voiceover and doing background with commercials. I mean, I've done TV shows, I've done movies, but my theater, I go back to theater, and theater is the thing that has gotten me through everything else. And my question is, what do you think about people that come in that has a theater background?
I feel sorry for you if you're going to try to make it in the film business with a theater background, because what mostly happens is that there's no relation between the way you act on stage and the way you act in front of the camera. In fact, they're almost opposite. And good acting is good acting, however you do it. And if you can be heard on film, that's great. Because you have to be loud on stage. And on stage, you're making the audience see your emotional life out there. You're projecting it into the audience because they can't see your eyes like we can in film. They're not up close to us, you know, so you spend all this energy going out. On film, we do everything inside. You think about it and you deal with what you're dealing with emotionally, and we see it in your eyes. So it's all inside. So you have to realize that and make compensation between stage and film.
I actually feel there's very little difference about what actors should be doing on stage and film. And I have a lot of trouble staying in a lot of theaters because they're doing what Marco described, and they don't need to. They don't have to project it out there. If they're being truthful, even if it's small, the audience can feel it. If they're faking it out to the audience to help us get it, then it's just, I can't even sit there. So I think stage acting is an important discipline, but sometimes it's terrible and it shouldn't be. So,
Yes, I found that sometimes the stage acting has hindered me, but I think it also has helped me in terms of the fact that it in terms of learning my lines. I mean, if I've done 64 pages in one, you know, learn it in 2 weeks. So, but I've also acted on camera, and I've had speaking roles on camera, so I do know the difference. But I just think that for me, the theater has helped me a lot. But I do know how to project on the camera also. But I'm sure it's not the same for everyone. But
I
for
love
me,
theater's great. I mean, it's a necessary, beautiful thing. But like Paula said, now we can, in a smaller venue, you can work smaller, which is important. But she's right, you know, good acting is good acting wherever you're doing it. On stage, I like to have the stage acting done at a level that's still real. And there's good people that can do it.
Yep.
thank
Yeah,
you.
well, that black box theater is so nice when you can do like those type of shows versus a big musical pajama game or something like that, you know? And then they're trying to, you know, apply that same to a film audition, you know? So I get both sides, and I'm glad you
Yeah.
both said that, because I've heard coaches probably as long as I've been in the business too, like say that have different opinions on that. That's why I got two of y'all, not just one. So, but and yeah, that's great. And then I will say one final thing about that too. I'm giving, just like we give actors advice, create your own work, do your indies while you're waiting for these auditions. If you can do like a theater festival or a quick 2-week run on something, your agent will kill you if you're booked out for 6 weeks on a show. Right, Denise? I'm just kidding. So, and I wanted to take a quick minute and thank Jason from Acclaim and all of our lovely agents too, who are sending the word about this. So thank you, Jason. But yeah, that's great. I love it when, you know, but thank you both for clarifying those two different avenues with that. Carl, I'm glad to see that that's really helping you. I've seen a huge difference in your stuff, if alone for memorization alone, right? Because sometimes people freak out when they see those 4-page sides, and it's like, well, if you're doing a whole play, you have to memorize. So do you both on that topic have any advice for memorization, or do you just let that come organically?
Do you want to give away your trade secrets, Paula?
Yeah. Go take a class with them. There we go.
Well, other than, you know, it's wonderful if you have someone to cue you. If not, you know, you have to hide the line, and don't try to memorize the whole thing at once. Get the beginning so you're comfortable with it. But the other thing is, once you should read the thing the first time, not knowing anything about it and making no plans, virginally. So you're not already trying to direct yourself in any kind of way. You're just experiencing it anew, like an audience. When you read it again, do try to notice the character. What do they want? What would this place be like in my life? What is my relationship to that person? The more you know the choices you've made about the character, the easier it is to remember the lines. Because they're not just by rote. You've given them a personal background. Well, that's just like my mom. And then you never forget that. You're not trying to make the person your mom, but you put it in your biological computer, and it's going to affect you. I find that helps.
You're right about one thing. You can't try to memorize the whole 4 pages in one chunk. Your brain hates that. It rebels. You have to break it into beats, you know. And I have techniques that I've developed that are foolproof. In 20 minutes, I can get almost anybody to be able to memorize a 4-page script. But you have to approach it the right way. Use a lot of highlighters and pens and pencils and visually interact and activate your, whatever they call that. When you remember things.
I have a casting
Photographic memory, that's it, photographic memory.
I have a casting question for you too. Do you advise your actors to hold their sides or come memorize? I know there's 2 schools.
Oh, even if it's memorized, you hold them.
Even if they're memorized,
Hold them.
and I hold them because that's giving information to the people that are casting you. Think of how much better they're going to be once they've had a chance to learn the lines.
Right.
If you put the lines on the floor and you're just there, they're subconsciously they're thinking, oh, this is as good as they're going to be, you know, because they've already learned the lines and everything. Also, if you keep it in your hand, give something for your hands to do. A lot of people show nervousness in their hands. I know I did. And so you hold on to something, it kind of grounds you. And you can use it for a prop and shake it and throw it at the feet of the casting director at the end of the audition. You know,
You heard it from them folks, so when I say it, don't go, yeah. I'm like, no, hold on to your dang sides.
Right. And you might think you know it, then you get in there and guess what? You go blank. I agree with everything that Marco said. And definitely don't keep raising your arm up and down. Hold it in a place where you can see it without, you know, having to look down, and don't stick it up in front of your face. Those seem simple, but people, I see it all the time.
Especially for self-taping. I just got that question. I was like, yes, you're holding on your, I mean, look at me right now. You can't even tell I'm holding on to them. But then I could hold them up like this, no one will care.
and have it already turned to the page that you're going to have trouble on. The first page you've probably learned. Go to the middle of the script and hold it, and you won't make noise. Every time you turn the page of the script, you're reminding the audience that you are not the character, you're an actor. And it's hard for them to lose themselves in the scene that way. And you want to take them into your world. So don't keep reminding them that you're an actor, but have the script handy when you need it.
Remember, your first self-tape's the first read too, right? I mean, I love what Marco said too, you know, about, you know, it will continue to get better if you're hired. Not necessarily like this is the best it's going to be,
Yeah.
you know, so that's great.
Well,
So,
if you've had it home and you have to put it on a tape and you've had it for 3 days and you're doing it with your hands, sometimes you have to do it without the script, or else it's too
right.
look like you
Don't punish yourself over 4 pages when you've had a 12-hour deadline, right?
Yeah, really.
Right. Yeah, correct.
We're trying our best, folks. We're trying not to give you like 10 pages anymore, you know, and I know SAG's made some rules recently, but if you're doing an indie, they don't always follow by SAG rules. So, but, we'll do one more because y'all been so nice with your time. I know we're slightly over time here, but Miss Kelsey, and then that'll be our last question for the night.
Hi, my name is Kelsey Russell, and I'm really happy that I was able to join the Zoom. I had a lot of fun.
You're beautiful, Kelsey. I'm glad you came to the seminar.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kelsey. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Kelsey.
A brighter day just seeing you.
No relation to Paula. Well, because that was such a quick question. Miss Kelsey, did you have a question, or you just want to say hi?
I just wanted to say hi.
I'm glad you did.
Thank you, darling. It's great to see you.
And we can go ahead and do Todd's really quickly. We can do you, Todd.
Thank you. Hey, Kelsey, I appreciate you just doing that and giving me this chance. And Marco, thank you. I met you on the set of The Sun, and you were so kind and nice. And I appreciated you then. And so it's just really cool to realize, make the connection who you were. So here's my question. on reel, on acquiring reel, and then getting through the process, because sometimes we don't have all the portfolio we need yet for the reel to submit to things. And I run into things with student films and low budget films. It's like you can't even get around the casting process without being able to submit a reel. So what's your advice for that? Is there any way around that? You know,
Well, the casting nobody wants to see your reel made up of little things you shot in your home studio. They don't want to see much of student film. But if it's an independent film that somebody's spent a little money on, and it's relatively good quality, if it shows you off in an interesting way, do that. You can make a reel out of that. It doesn't have to be long, a reel. People always want to make it too long, but a minute and a half is fine, or even a minute. If it's all you have is one thing, tape a monologue against a nice backdrop or sitting in a well-lit place and just do a monologue if you have to have a reel. And then hopefully change it when you start getting a few parts. You have to take these independent films just to get stuff to write on your resume, because the agents don't want you with no credits. Casting directors are scared to see you. They don't want to waste the time.
right.
You have to kind of take matters into your own hands, but don't give them shoddy, amateurish looking film. They just pitch it.
Right. That's great. I appreciate it. I just want to, I can
Paula, what do you think about that, Miss Paula?
Yeah, I agree. If it's terrible sound, if it isn't good quality, if you have something that was done by a grad student and it's gorgeous and it's all you have, but it has to be gorgeous. And I had a student who had some wonderful things on her reel that were just great, that ended with an amazing stunt thing that was shot beautifully. And her agent would only let her put on the reel her 2 TV network, that's all they wanted on the reel. And I told her, well, okay, you have a reel for that agent. Have a reel of your own for when you self-submit, because the reel was great. And definitely short. I couldn't agree with Marco more. Short. Make them.
Yeah, thank you for saying that too, Paula, because your agent is the one who's selling you. And, they only make money when you book something. So they might be very specific with your resume, your reel. But if you're self-submitting for a UT thesis film and you want to show them more versus less, do it. And I will just throw in one more little piggyback, because we're in a self-tape era from a casting standpoint. If I see 4 good self-tapes that you've done back to back, might entice me more to click your little profile versus having just a headshot and a flat 2-dimensional resume to look at. I'm like, well, at least he or she will give me a good quality first round tape. But again, if that's all you have, like Marco was saying too, as you start to get the credits, just throw them in there. And collaborate with your agent, collaborate with your team, and be like, this is what I got. What do you think? This is what I got. And keep submitting for those people who do those $30,000 thesis films, because they'll at least have a good lens, they'll at least have a good editor. But I get what you're trying to say. It's hard to even get in for those if they can't see your footage. So give them something to look at in the meantime. So I think that's a great place to end things. Gary, do you want to go ahead and do an outro for us?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Michael, for being a great interviewer and a great host. Denise, I want to welcome both of y'all on as our new core members, and when we get everything organized in the website. And Marco and Paula, y'all are just such class acts. So much soul, so much humor. You're artists, you're great, you're inspiring. And so we can't thank you enough. And more than anything, thanks you folks for attending. We did this live for years, but I'll tell you what, when we get 40 to 50 people and more on Zoom, it saves driving in traffic and headaches and everything else. So stay with us. And thanks again for attending. If y'all didn't attend, we wouldn't be here. And thank you, Denise, Michael, Marco, Paula.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye. Nice to see you all. Denise, nice to meet you.